So today we're going to talk about 5 steps to creating an effective freebie. And these are also called lead magnets, but we're going to kind of jump right in and talk about them. Okay, so what is it and why do you need one? Like I said, a freebie can also be referred to as a lead magnet, and it's something that you give your readers or your audience in exchange for their email addresses. And usually this is some kind of downloadable item that can be delivered to them via email. So they might, type in their email, and then ideally within a couple of minutes, they will get that download item in their inbox. And sometimes you can even have a link after they put in their information, kind of their success message, or your success message also has a link for them to download that. So there's a lot of different ways to do it, but typically it is something that you offer to your readers in exchange for their contact information. And so why would you want to do this? 2 main reasons. 1, to build up your email list. So freebies are really simple and effective ways to build up your email marketing list that don't require a lot of maintenance. You can kind of set it and semi-forget it. I really advise against forgetting anything that you're creating, but you can definitely set it up and automate it so that you don't have to constantly be checking in on it. You can really just let it do its thing. And as you're marketing it and sharing it, you can kind of just let it roll and kind of come back to it to see how it's performing. The other thing is that you can showcase your business through it, right? So in this freebie, you can showcase some skill set, a particular service, maybe your expertise, or something of value that connects directly to what you're offering somebody else, or you're offering your clients or your customers. So I'll have an example later on that we can kind of look through, but you'll see that it's always related to something that I do with my business. So if you're offering a product, a lot of times it's great to offer a sample of that product, maybe to offer something that's complimentary, that isn't as costly as giving away a free product. Or maybe it is a small product that you offer somebody that's in your shop that you can send to them, or you can give them access to digitally, that they can then get a taste of what your larger inventory is like. All right, so the value of your email list. So I've had this conversation a couple of times with clients recently, and I thought it'd be good to just kind of touch back in on it. But an email list is actually one of the most valuable pieces of information and marketing tools that you can have. So there's a couple of reasons. One is that data really shows that it's still the most effective marketing tactic. So 59% of respondents say marketing emails influence their purchase decisions, and they generate on average $38 for every dollar spent. So this isn't just for product-based services or product-based businesses, but also services as well. And so, for an example, I definitely fall into this because if, Old Navy sends me an email every month talking about their latest sale, I'm going to want to buy from them, right? Because they're going to be front of mind. They're going to be constantly popping up at my inbox. And when they talk about those sales, when I'm finally ready to make a purchase, I'm going to click in and purchase something, right? So those are kind of the same ideas of, saying that marketing emails influence their purchase. If you're constantly seeing the same communications from the same companies on a regular basis, that's going to be what pops into your mind, right? Especially if it's a positive experience. The other reason they're really valuable is it's a captive audience in a lot of ways, right? So people check their emails multiple times a day. Some data says that up to 20 times a day. I know for me, it's well above that. I spend way too much time in my email inbox. And unlike social media or even paid marketing, there's a very good chance, it wouldn't be 100%, but a very high chance that if you send someone an email and they have opted into it, they invite that information into their email inbox, they're going to see it. Now, whether or not they open it is a different, conversation. But if you're going to send something to somebody, their email works, you're not going to go to their spam folder. It's going to be in their inbox and they're going to see it. Even if they have 5,000 emails, right? There's a good chance that at some point during their day, they're going to open up that email inbox and see your email in the top, 5 spots. So being able to constantly be in front of them, to have these people who have opted into it, is really, really important. And there is something to say about that, just because, it's not the same as social media. In social media, you can show up on people's news feeds, but if they're not engaging with you, if they're not really playing into the algorithm, then it's a lot harder to ensure that every single piece of content that you're putting out there is being seen by the people that you want to see it, right? So that's another reason why email lists are really, really important and super helpful, and why it needs to be a priority that you are, engaging and using your list wisely. All right, so enough about that. Let's get to the good stuff. All right, steps to create your freebie. So easy as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? We have 5 steps. So I'm going to guide you through this, talk a little bit through it. There's some video in here that's really short and sweet. So if you have questions, again, feel free to drop them into the chat and all of that fun stuff. All right, so first up is you're going to have to build it, right? So first you pick your topic. You want it to be something really valuable, something that people are going to care about, and then you have to build it out. So I like to use Canva to build out my freebies, partly because it's just really simple and it's really easy to make it look beautiful, and anyone can do it, right? So they give you a lot of great templates. They give you a lot of great access to images and colors and all those different things. And so being able to use Canva is really, really helpful. So as you can see in here, I have a freebie that says your guide to creating an email opt-in freebie. And as I scroll down, there's these options here that actually allow you to list things out. So I will definitely include the download for this so you can access it. But Canva also allows you to put links in. It allows you to create a lot of great content so that when you send that out in a PDF format, people can actually really engage with it. Now, the one thing that it can't do is have that gray space be fillable. So if you want someone to be able to type directly into that PDF and really use it as an interactive tool, then you're going to want to use something like PDF Escape. So pdfescape.com. Again, I'll have that in the follow-up email for you. And that's a great tool that I like to use that makes the freebie interactive, right? So it's really simple. You just pop your download in or your PDF in, update it with these essentially little text box that will allow people to type in them. And then you re-download it again as a PDF. And that's what you can share all over the internet and with your friends and family, colleagues, all the fun stuff. So definitely a great tool. I highly recommend it. I have Canva Pro. I really recommend it. And if you're going to do a lot of creation for graphics or things like that, it's well worth the investment. I can give you a link to it that'll take you right through it. But you can also use the free version, and that works just as well. Another thing too is if you're someone who maybe isn't super confident in your design skills, or maybe you just don't have the time or interest to make it look pretty, if you create the content and want to hire a designer or something like that, that's another great option. But you definitely want this freebie to be something that not just has valuable content, but also looks really great, right? So you want to add value everywhere that you possibly can to let people really experience what it's like to work with you. So you can build it yourself, or you can definitely hire a designer to make it look professional. I've done that for multiple clients of mine. It's a really fun time, and it doesn't always take that long depending upon the size of the project. So that's something to consider as well. All right, so after you build it, you're going to want to build your workflow. And so this might be in MailChimp, Constant Contact, or what I like to use is Flodesk. So I have a blog post about why I chose Flodesk, but basically I chose it because it's pretty, it's cost effective, aka cheap, but it also works really, really, really well. So if you want to check out Flodesk, again, that'll be in the follow-up email. But I really enjoy it. And as you can see, here is a workflow that we create. So essentially what it does is you want to build up an automation, and all MailChimp does this, Constant Contact does this, most email providers do offer this to some level, but sometimes it costs more money. And so what you do is you select what segment and or tag you're going to use to initiate your workflow. So for this one, it's going to be when someone signs up to get this freebie, they're going to be added to a segment that I believe is called, freebie guide or something like that. Can't read it right. Email freebie guide. And so when they are in and added to that segment, it'll automatically tell this system to send them that email that I created, right? And that email is really short, simple, and really sweet. It just says, hey, thanks so much for downloading this. Here's the access link to the freebie that you can download. Download the template, download the guide, whatever it is that you're giving. Maybe another little note below, and then you can kind of add any of your own flair to it. I like to have my Instagram feed in there because I like to keep it pretty, and so it adds some beautiful pictures without me having to do a lot of extra work. So that's something that's really nice and easy. And what's also great about a workflow is you can see when people are going through it. So let's say I started this guide and I wanted to take it a little bit further. I wanted to offer some other specific information. So once someone signed up for the guide, I wanted to then maybe 3 days later send them an email about my favorite Flodesk system and why I like Flodesk and why to use Flodesk for their guides. So I could send that email. And then maybe 3 days later, I want to say, hey, by the way, I offer, email marketing as a service. Here's another email about that. I would probably want to do a little bit more relationship building and things like that in between, but workflows are really great because you can do that. You can say, okay, if they downloaded this freebie, that tells me something about what they need, right? There's a certain pain point that this is ideally going to help fix or remedy for them. And so they must be interested in whatever this freebie is about. So if it's email marketing, I know that I want to talk to them about email marketing. I'm not going to talk to them about web design or, SEO or social media marketing. I want to talk to them about email. And so you can even create more steps and more emails from there. But I like to keep it really sweet and simple. Just typically do, hey, you activated this workflow. Here's what you asked for. And then sometimes I might send one more email. And then I also add them into my newsletter. So I have a little disclaimer, and this is really important to do whenever you're setting up your landing page, which we'll talk about in a second. You'll want to include that disclaimer saying, hey, if you opt in here, you'll also be added to our newsletter or any other things that you're adding them to. You want to make sure that it's there. All right, so speaking of that, building your landing page, as you can see, this one I built in Flodesk as well. And so I just was able to add in an image and then a really easy and simple section there that just says, hey, what's your name? What's your email? Get this template, get this guide, get this freebie, whatever kind of language you want to use. And then underneath that button, it says, when you sign up for this email list or when you download this freebie, you will also be added to the Monday Morning Fix, which is our weekly newsletter. And they're able to unsubscribe at any time. So building out your landing page is another key piece of your freebie. And you can either build it in your website directly. So maybe you have like a really specific design that you want to create, or you want it to be branded in a certain way. Sometimes it can be a little limiting within certain email providers. But I like to just use what's in Flodesk, and MailChimp also has some really great landing page options. And I just create it in that, and then I can share that link anywhere that I want, and I can change it up as I need to without having to do any kind of web design changes. So definitely setting up that landing page, that's what helps tell your system where to put that person. So once they sign up on this landing page, they go directly to my segment for this freebie. And so that allows me, if I wanted to send everyone who's ever downloaded this freebie a specific email, or like if I was maybe doing some kind of discount or offering some kind of service specific to what they've downloaded, that could be really helpful. And so having a landing page can help you collect all of that information. All right, then last but not least, you're going to want to promote it. So this is something I see a lot of times as well, is we will create content, whether it's a freebie or a blog or something like that. And then it just sits there because we don't want to promote it. We don't want to share it. It feels maybe kind of uncomfortable if you're not super salesy or, that kind of stuff. But this is how people are going to know about it. And it's a really great value product. Whatever you're offering, whatever downloadable or quiz or, whatever it is that you're offering, it's going to add value to somebody somewhere, right? That's why you created it. So you're going to want to share it on your social media platforms. You can create a website pop-up for it. You can definitely share it with your other newsletter options. So if you already have a list of people and you want to share it with them and encourage them to share it with their contacts, like there's all these different ways that you can really get it out there. And sharing it in Facebook groups is another great way to really get your information out there and start to build your list. So that's key. You can create the most beautiful freebie and have an awesome workflow and have a killer landing page. But if you're not going to tell anyone about it, then no one's going to download it, right? So you got to do the hard part of promoting it. All right, so we have about 12 minutes left, which is perfect for asking any questions and then wrapping up some stuff. So if you have any questions, now is your chance to ask them either in the Q&A or the chat box, and I can definitely talk to you about that there. All right, let's see. So we've got a couple questions. Awesome. Okay, so does it have to be Canva Pro? You don't have to use Canva Pro, but I highly recommend it just because it gives you full access to all of their images, their templates, all the little pieces. So it can be really limiting to just use the free version, but there's definitely plenty of tools that you can use for free. Great question. All right. How is this different or compare with MailChimp templates? So does MailChimp have workflows? So these kind of go together. So for Flodesk and MailChimp, they are very similar. Flodesk was created for kind of the influencer, creative, artistic kind of side. Everyone and anyone can use it, but I really think they allow you to create really, really beautiful templates, and it's really easy to use. So both of them are drag and drop, and you can really kind of just tweak it as you see fit. So I use both. So I use MailChimp for a lot of my clients, so I'm very familiar with that. And I use Flodesk for myself and for a couple other clients, and they both work really, really well. I like Flodesk because it's only $19 a month forever, and I can have as many contacts, I can have as many emails, I can share as many times as I want. Like there's no limit on that, and the workflow can be as big as I want as well. Whereas with MailChimp, the more people who get on your list, the more emails that you send out, and the more workflows, steps you want to create, the more money you have to pay. So that is definitely helpful. And then, something to keep in mind there is like for Flodesk, it's still technically in beta. So, sometimes there can be some little tweaks there. So that's kind of that pros and cons to weigh, but I've loved it from the get-go. So that's my little shameless plug, but they're both really great. They both work well, and they're not that different from MailChimp to Flodesk. Okay, so another great question. If you're selling low-cost physical products, how do you implement freebies without cheaping your business? That is a great question. So I would say if you want to create a specific product, like maybe as a sample that you want to send out or something like that, that would probably honestly be the best way. So if someone wants to sample a product, you could, figure out, okay, what exactly is going to be the smallest, lowest cost sample version of what I can do to send them. Or you can look at something that maybe goes with it. That's like a digital download. So, for example, I'm just thinking of like candles or something like that, right? So if I'm selling candles and they're handmade and I don't want to pay for shipping and all this stuff, right? Because that also adds another burden. You could create a freebie that's talks about, the 5 top scents that complement one another when purchasing candles, or it could be something like a discount. So if you wanted to do, a discount, say, give us your email information and you get a 10% discount on your next purchase. Something like that, where it could be, you're not necessarily giving all your product away, but it definitely gives you an opportunity to kind of share a little bit about your product. So that's a good question. Sometimes also a lot of product-based businesses that I've also purchased from and have talked with some of their marketing departments is they'll do stickers. So like, let's say someone downloads a certain something from your website, or you could look at sending like a previous client or customer like a pack of stickers or something like that. So that is something to kind of think through. Definitely product based can be very different. So I would look at what are some digital options. So maybe checklists, guides, articles, ebooks that you could offer that complement your business that can be really, really helpful. So that's another great thought there. Great questions, you guys. All right, let's see if there are any other ones. Great one. Yes, okay. Can you repeat where you showed you can create clickable portions in Canva? Yes, so let's go back to Canva. So in Canva, there is an icon. It'll pop up and it just looks like a little link. And if you click on that, you can create a URL essentially. So you can make it like a hyperlink. If you wanted to do a fillable thing where someone can click in and type, then that would be where you'd want to download it into PDF Escape and then update it in that and give it those clickable portions and fillable portions and then re-download it. So let's see, I think it's coming up here where you can click it. If it'll show up, I'm changing all the colors. But yeah, there's like a little link icon, that one right there. I don't know if you guys can tell, but it's right next to the gradient. When you click on that, it allows you to insert a URL and you can apply it. And then that makes that specific part of the document clickable. So great questions. All right. All right, if you think of anything else, feel free to drop it in the chat real quick and I'll make sure we answer it before we end. But let's do a couple housekeeping things to wrap up. All right, so up next week is the 11th, and we're going to be talking about your email marketing strategy. So if you are not sure how to use email or where to start, definitely come and join me back here next week. Like I mentioned earlier at the beginning of the session, I'm on Clubhouse and will be simultaneously streaming on there. So if you would like to join me on Clubhouse and just listen to this session or these sessions, please feel free to connect with me on there. And if you want an invite, shoot me an email after this session with the follow-up email, and I'd be happy to invite you. And then lastly, I'm still doing website audits. So it proved to be such a sought after and appreciated tool for a lot of people last month. I decided to keep it going. So if you have a website that you just want another pair of eyes to look at and you want to get a marketing and designer perspective, I am offering free 15 to 20 minute website audits where I basically record my screen and walk through your website, double check that things are clicking right, that it's structured the way that you really would want it to be most effective, and just really helping you to see if there's something missing. So definitely, a super helpful tool. Yes. Vani, I did yours and it was awesome. So Dot Your Mind is a really great one. Oh, Oluchi, yes. Definitely shoot me an email after this with the follow-up email and I will give you an audit for sure. So we can get that in place. So if you guys have any other questions or want to connect, just let me know. I'd be happy to chat. And as always, you get a free 30 minutes with me if you attend these sessions. So, feel free to take advantage of that. And if you have anyone that would enjoy being in these or would benefit from joining us, please feel free to invite them. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for attending. I will see you back here next week. Bye.